Welcome back to the show, folks. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. I'm Niall, your host. If you could subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, drop a like on the video, share the content, all that kind of good stuff. If you're looking for audio versions of the show, they're out there on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, wherever you find audio versions of your podcast. This is our WWE Payback 2023 review. Interesting pay-per-view, to say the least. I was kind of going into this, I wasn't overly excited about it. I hadn't bought into the build-up that much. Shinsuke and Rollins and the tag match as well. I had said in the preview and stuff like that I thought that the importance of the belts as a tag match would be overshadowed by the infighting of the Judgment Day. How wrong I got that, and I'm happy to say I got it wrong. But let's get into this and let's go through it. And I have to say, right out of the ballpark, right out of the get-go, they knocked it out of the ballpark. Steel cage match, Becky versus Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus, I have to say, she's like wine. She's getting better with age. Forget about how good she looks. She's getting better with age. You can see the stuff she's doing in there. She's coming across exactly like she's saying in her interviews. She's so excited and enthused and motivated to be back wrestling on a regular basis, and she's putting out incredible work, I have to say. This steel cage match was absolutely incredible. You seen the beat up forehead on Trish. Becky looked beat up too, some of the spots they hit. And what I really liked about this, where we sometimes don't get this, is the cage was fully involved in the match. It was focal and central to the match, and it wasn't just about the cage being, part of keeping Zoe Stark out of the match for a certain period of time. The cage was fully involved in the match in every kind of facet of it. So it was absolutely brilliant. Some of the spots they pulled off the cage and all were brilliant. That superplex was unbelievable. The absolute bang off that bump when they both hit the mat was incredible and stuff like that. So unbelievable. Of course, Zoe Stark found her way into the ring eventually through the cage. You get the traditional cage door bump to the head, which normally happens and stuff like that. But Becky picked up the win. Had a bit of a head-to-head with Zoe Stark a little bit, and then in the end Zoe turned on Trish Stratus. But a brilliant match, I have to say, to kick off the pay-per-view. Really got the crowd pumped up and going and stuff like that. The crowd were fully into it as well. It was absolutely brilliant, have to say. Top marks to the girls. What a cage match. I haven't seen too many women's cage matches better than it as well. It was pretty impressive. Up next was a match I was very excited for, but out comes the host, John Cena of Payback. He interjects himself as the referee for this match. Have to say, looking at the match, I was excited for it. LA Knight, of course, on the rise. Miz, the gatekeeper for that next level, isn't he? When we talk about Miz is wrestling royalty now at this stage. He is like a fine wine. He sits there and he's the gatekeeper for people who want to step up into that next level, that main event level. He is the tester. And if you can hang with Miz both at a promo level and at an ability level, you're all good in WWE's eyes. So that was really cool. Really good solid match between both boys. John Cena getting involved and stuff like that. I have to say, John Cena as a referee, he's absolutely terrible, isn't he, with the closed fists and everything else and all. He wasn't really getting involved. He was just there as a byproduct of it. I did enjoy the interaction with him and Miz at the start of it and all, even though it was a little bit hokey and a little bit contrived kind of thing. But yeah, certainly plenty of tension between LA Knight and John Cena. You could see it there even at the end when they were down the ramp and Cena declaring him the winner and all. LA Knight had plenty to say to him and all. So are they sowing the seeds for something a lot bigger there between LA Knight and John Cena down the road? Maybe a WrestleMania match or something like that, who knows. But certainly LA Knight came out with this very strong. Miz, as you know, is just quality, huge Miz fan. LA Knight picking up the win and stuff like that. So again, momentum into the pay-per-view, pretty good. Next up was Mysterio versus Austin Theory US title match. Again, this is not one I was really excited about. I didn't expect anything to happen. I think the detachment of the US title from Austin Theory, I think, is a good thing. I think his title reign as US title champion, I think, has flattered to deceive. I think he's really struggled. I said it in the preview. I think he's really struggled to define himself and his situation since the heights of Mania 38. I think he's really struggled, and I think he needs a little bit of repackaging or something like that. Now, there was a story that leaked that there's talk that a main roster person is going to be turning babyface in a big way. I think Austin Theory could potentially be that guy. Certainly this was a solid match, lots of back and forth, and there was nice chemistry between the two of them, between Rey Mysterio's high intensity, high flying and all that kind of stuff, and Austin Theory's really solid, aggressive work and stuff like that. I did enjoy the match, kind of felt the way it was going to go, but Rey picking up the win and retaining the US title. Up next was the tag match. We had Balor and Priest representing the Judgment Day versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, the tag team champions. This was a match that I spoke about, that I was worried about the significance of the titles, as I said earlier in the review, and that I thought it might be overshadowed maybe by a Priest or a Balor turn or something like that, JD McDonough or whatever it was. But this was a match that was perfectly booked. It was fun. It was a Pittsburgh Steel City street fight, so it was pretty cool. Owens is just electric, Sami is just electric, the dynamic between the two was electric. Priest and Balor, of course, going into the match you'd worry about, could these two guys coexist, but certainly they did. They put on an absolute epic match, went around the arena. It was great when the camera came off Owens, and then when it came back he was covered in blood, and you know, the little push towards Terry Funk and all, I thought was really cool. And then the next thing, he had the hockey gear on him, the Pittsburgh Steelers and or whatever it is. It was just really cool. I thought it was awesome, and just they absolutely knocked lumps out of each other. Some of those bumps were crazy, and it was a real tribute match really to Terry Funk, wasn't it, and stuff like that. But the surprise on the night, Balor and Priest picking up the win, becoming tag champions, coexisting, not a problem. So have they changed their mind? Let me know in the comments. Have they changed their mind? Are we still not going to see that turn down the line now that the Judgment Day, they're all carrying gold, and Priest with the Money in the Bank briefcase? Have they changed their mind now with what's happened with the bloodline and stuff like that? Are they going to keep the Judgment Day intact? And what happens now with JD McDonough? Of course, he was involved in the match as well. But this was a brilliant match. And just to hear Balor after it, and the way he was celebrating with the gold with Priest and stuff like that. And then the interview afterwards with John Cena and stuff like that. Because I know how much of a fan Balor is of John Cena and stuff like that. But they were just hamming it up. And of course, Balor as well, going on now, becoming a Grand Slam champion as well. So that's pretty impressive as well. But yeah, it was weird. I didn't see it coming. I fully expected Owens and Zayn to retain. And I expected that this was going to be the match where either the swerve or the turn would happen, but it didn't, so they pleasantly surprised me there. Really happy about that, so that was really cool. Up next then was Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez, two powerhouses. This is for the women's championship. I loved Rhea Ripley coming out in the China gear, giving that little shove to China's memory and stuff like that. Really cool. She's been absolutely sensational the last year. She's by far one of the biggest stars in there now, and as I said before, she is truly the leader of the Judgment Day, and it's really cool to see it in such a dynamic faction. But this was going to be an interesting one. This is going to be a bruiser, because Raquel Rodriguez, big girl herself, well able to hang with Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley over the last year or so, whatever, she's been wrestling kind of smaller competition, if you like, till she wrestled Natty. Natty gave her a real good match. I think it was on Raw. But prior to that, like, it's been a mismatch and stuff like that, and they look kind of, the matches look kind of a little bit awkward with the smaller girls in there, the smaller women's wrestlers. But this was a step up, two powerhouses. But it was weird. It didn't start off with any great chemistry, but it kind of grew into the match. But the two girls didn't express any chemistry in the beginning. My think is, I think they're going to roll this along. This is going to become maybe a series of matches. It kind of makes sense. And I think as the girls wrestle each other more, I think they'll bring that chemistry together. And I think the subsequent matches will be better and better, I think. Obviously it was different as well, different for Rhea, because she's wrestling now a big girl, a powerhouse, and obviously for Raquel, obviously she's in there with Rhea as well. So didn't quite deliver what people thought. Like I said, it just seemed a little bit awkward. Seemed like neither girl had chemistry with each other. But that will develop. There's no doubt that will develop over time. But Rhea picking up the win and retaining the belt, but still plenty more to come in this. There's a nice bit of history and dynamic with this, obviously with the knee injury and the Liv Morgan situation, all that kind of thing. So the dynamic is really, really good. So you can keep this rolling and keep this going, you know. Plenty of unfinished business in relation to this match. And then we rounded out the night, of course. Jey Uso came back, of course. We have to mention that, the Grayson Waller effect and stuff like that with the super kick stuff. And this is the thing that I feared would happen, that Jey Uso would go off, and in a matter of 2 weeks he would be back. And that's kind of really what happened and stuff like that. And it's kind of this is what I don't like. I don't like where they sow the seeds of a storyline, and then what they do is they cut it short and they bring it back, and then you can't invest in it. It's not as meaningful as you thought. So yeah, but that was it. Cody Rhodes coming out and stuff like that, and now we're hearing like Cody Rhodes is going to move on to SmackDown, no doubt, to chase down the belt off Roman. But wouldn't it be cool if both Uso brothers held the two big titles on each show? That would be pretty cool. Don't know whether that's going to happen or not. They're probably going to build now towards Cody and Roman for WrestleMania, which kind of makes sense. Jay's going to be on Raw doing this thing. I wouldn't be surprised if Jay steps up now into the Rollins situation, even though we're going to talk about Rollins and Shinsuke as well. They're probably going to let that rock on a little bit. Interesting dynamic, a different Shinsuke Nakamura for sure. But let's get into the main event. It was Shinsuke Nakamura versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title. Interesting, this is the first time Seth had defended the World Heavyweight title in a main event pay-per-view. And it's actually the first time I read as well that Shinsuke Nakamura has main evented a pay-per-view since his call-up in 2017, which is absolutely crazy to think about that. And that's what I mean when you look at a guy like Shinsuke Nakamura. Years go by very quick, and people get less and less interested, and it's up to WWE and WWE Creative to make him relevant and make him really, really important. I liked some of the build-up to this. I wasn't mad about it. Like the build-up on the basis of Rollins having a dodgy back really didn't wash for me. But I did like that darker side of Shinsuke, the one where he was in the gi and stuff like that, and you know, the Japanese promos and all that kind of stuff. That darker kind of Shinsuke I thought was really, really cool. It lent itself to a bit more meaning to it, and the way the match panned out as well, the match was decent, pretty good, but I think it lends itself to, similar to Rhea and Raquel, maybe go on a little bit further. I did say beforehand, Shinsuke stepping up into that situation kind of felt like it was just cherry picked out of the roster, that it was his turn next kind of thing. I wasn't too sure what way they were going to go with it from a dynamic point of view, but I could see them running this on to Survivor Series, and then possibly Jey Uso as the man that then steps into to hunt down Rollins for the belt. Who knows, even maybe somewhere down the line, you know, you could get the two Uso brothers going against each other with both world titles. Be fairly impressive. But again, let us know your thoughts on the main event. Did it deliver for you? I think overall, looking at Payback, I think I didn't have a huge expectation going into it. I was excited about some of the matches, but certainly I think it was solid. It was a solid pay-per-view. Tends to be one of those kind of filler ones. I don't think it hit the straps that you would get from, you know, how we felt about the likes of Backlash and Money in the Bank and stuff like that. I think they were excellent the way they did them and stuff like that. But this is kind of a more of a deep, you know, a push down kind of pay-per-view. You know, it's a Raw pay-per-view, so the dynamic of the mix is different and stuff like that. Certainly the crowd was electric. They were in it right from the get-go. You know, we had the title change obviously with the tag belts, which was really, really cool. Even though I'm a big Owens and Sami Zayn fan. But I think overall it was decent. Solid matches, a title change, and a couple of feuds that can continue on. So what more can you ask for what they call maybe a filler pay-per-view Payback? That's my review of Payback, folks. Let us know your thoughts on it. Let us know what you thought of the matches. Cage match, still thought it was excellent. Let us know how you feel about coming out of it now and what way it looked for you. And of course, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, drop a like on the video, share the content, and let's keep on growing this community. Until next time, folks, an absolute pleasure.